We've got Srinivasan Jain back on the phone line with us. Vasu, thanks for being back on the phone line. What's the latest that you're hearing?
Well, we have now got the breaking news, the first official response from N Srinivasan, the embattled chief of the Board of Cricket Control of India. I just spoke to Mr. Srinivasan. He has made it very, very clear. He says there is no question of my resigning. He says I have done nothing wrong, and therefore he has ruled out all the speculation that he will be resigning in the next 24 hours or any time going forward. Mr. Srinivasan was in a combative mood, and I can now share with our viewers that we had spoken to him this morning as well in Kodaikanal. He said the same thing. He continues to maintain the same thing. Mr. Srinivasan says that there is no evidence against him per se. He says that in fact this is an attempt by some quarters to try and implicate him in all this, firing over the shoulders of his son-in-law, and therefore he believes that he will not resign. Now, the other important aspect here, of course, is that this is not a decision left to Mr. Srinivasan alone. There is an entire board which is sitting and watching this entire spectacle unfold with unconcealed horror. But Mr. Srinivasan claims that he has largely the support of the other members of the board. Again, this is what he claims. We cannot substantiate this at this time, but he says that largely the board is behind him. They see this as an attempt, as a conspiracy by some sections to try and unseat him and to make his position untenable. And he says that has actually led to a greater degree of solidarity behind him at this time. Now, we can also share with our viewers that there have been negotiations between senior board members like Rajiv Shukla and Arun Jaitley with Mr. Srinivasan. But Mr. Srinivasan says that none of this has been to any way to do with his question of resigning. He says, I will not resign. In fact, he says that tomorrow he will be talking to the press on his way from Kodaikanal to Calcutta. He will either talk to the press in Madras or in Calcutta to make his position even more clear. But at the moment, the big breaking news is first official reaction from Board Chief N Srinivasan. He says he is not resigning.
Well, that's a big statement really coming in from N Srinivasan, as Vasu just told us that he will not be stepping down. That's his first official reaction to this entire controversy that's taken a new twist with Gurunath Meiyappan being arrested. Vasu, very quickly before we let you go, I don't know whether you heard our conversation with Mr. Lalit Modi, but what he was saying is that there is no way that anyone can deny that Gurunath Meiyappan was involved with the Chennai Super Kings. He was one of the owners.
Well, again, now Mr. Srinivasan and the Chennai Super Kings stand before that has been clear. They say that Gurunath Meiyappan had no formal role to play in the Chennai Super Kings, far alone being the owner. The owner is India Cements, and this is, of course, an incontrovertible fact. This is not in any doubt. But, of course, the attempt to suggest that Gurunath Meiyappan was some kind of an honorary member is also a fiction. We do know, of course, that he was someone who was a fairly active member of the team's top management. So, in that sense, the technicality of whether that even though he may not be the owner, clearly he was a senior official of that team, and the fact that he's been arrested in a booking case does make Mr. Srinivasan and the team's position extremely untenable. But they will continue to argue that the Chennai Super Kings per se has not done anything wrong. Only one of its executives has done something wrong. They will take action against him. They may possibly suspend or expel Mr. Gurunath Meiyappan from the team, and that they believe will be enough. But of course, this is not just now a decision to be taken by Mr. Srinivasan or the Chennai Super Kings on their own. This has become a huge escalating controversy, and we'll have to wait to see if Mr. Srinivasan's defiance in the face of such raging controversy will hold. But as I said, at the moment, he seems to be, in fact, it seems that the more the controversy escalates, the more the demand for his resignation escalates, the more he seems to be digging his heels in. I can also tell you that earlier in the evening, we had a senior NCP leader, Sharad Pawar, former board chief, indicating that Mr. Srinivasan should resign. Mr. Pawar later retracted that statement, said he never made it. But this is all again being seen by the Srinivasan camp as a political conspiracy to unseat him. And he says that has only increased his determination to stick it out.
Right, so that really is the tricky part of, the trickiest part really of this entire controversy, because as Vasu mentioned over there, the India Cements of course will continue to say that Gurunath Meiyappan had no role, no formal role to play in the Chennai Super Kings, and that really is a bit of a loophole here. Can he get through on that one, that he had no formal role to play in the Chennai Super Kings? And remember, according to the charter of the IPL, a person has to have a formal role in a franchise for the franchise to be affected. Chennai Super Kings Kings, the second IPL team now in the eye of the storm after, of course, the Rajasthan Royals. Srinivasan Jain, thanks so much for joining us with that on the phone line.